monorail, a wet trip to the west, to the Spa-Francorchamps circuit from the Grand Prix of Belgium. Out on the course to watch practice, we became so intrigued by the spray and the speed and the ice rink-like attitude of these cars that we just sat back and watched. Why don't you watch this with us? It's pretty exciting. Like that? So did we. National Circuit of Francorchamps. 5 June 1955, dawn, bright and sunny. The second largest road racing circuit in Europe, the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, as it is often called, is an integral part of the Belgian highway system, beautifully maintained, and this year, much of it had been resurfaced. Radio Luxembourg was there. 5 microphones pointing in all directions to give real fine coverage. And the ungarbled word is being sent to the Argentine by Fangio's personal reporter. Television cameras from 4 countries on this tower. All we needed was that fast panning cameraman from Radio Monte Carlo on top of that to send the whole thing down to the starting line. A great event was the arrival of King Leopold of Belgium, I should say, former King Leopold. He abdicated several years ago in favor of his son Baudouin. He arrived with his beautiful wife, the Princess Dorothy. Leopold has long been a fancier of high-performance automobiles and is a frequent attender at many of the European circuits. He's a controversial figure in Belgian politics, but the crowd showed that there is still a great deal of admiration left for him. Discusses a few fine points of racing with Fangio and Moss, Kling, Art Kaiser, members of the Mercedes entourage, John Fitch in the background, Harry Schell of the Ferrari team, Paul Frere, Maurice Trintignant, and sends up to the stands with several of the other race officials. The normal teams from the Grand Prix circuit, Lancia, Ferrari, Mercedes, so on and so forth. Maserati were back again. Lancia represented only by 1 car this time, having withdrawn the balance of the teams in deference to Ascari's recent death at Monza. Mercedes arrived with nothing special that we could see on the cars, a very similar configuration to what they've been running in the past. Roberto Mieres of the Maserati team drives a Ford Thunderbird, as do several of the other drivers, such as Maglioli for Ferrari. An old friend from Monaco, Maurice Trintignant, signs an autograph for an admirer. Very charming young fellow and very good driver. Paul Frere on the left and Gilbert Thirion on the right. 2 fine Belgian competitors. Roberto Mieres closer up this time out of his Thunderbird, and 2 old friends from Pau on the left, Louis Rosier and Jean Barra. Down on the start-finish line is an interesting monument at Spa, dedicated to Freddie Charlier, fallen in a race for the automobile sport on the 6th of July, 1929, his friends, and the very sentimental touch of a fallen arrow. Just a few minutes now before race time. Cameras are getting set up for television. About 13 minutes to go. Announcements are being made to the crowd and the tension begins to build up. Tension begins to mount up. Royal Automobile Club of Spa provides a service for the movie photographer, Stirling Moss, a last-minute piece of good luck. Fangio with a few last-minute preparations. A driver's meeting. As good as these fellows are, they still never miss a driver's meeting. The countdown is explained. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so on, so on, before the flag drops. They all nod their heads and understand. Just about it. They've got the engines warmed up. The course has been cleared. There they go. They're off. Mercedes number 4 comes around very fast on the outside. The green entry is Mike Hawthorne, the Van Wall special. Down through the red water turn, as they call it, and up towards the top of the hill. Variable radius uphill. Very, very tricky setup. All the cars get away with, of course, we always have in every event, one retarded starter who never seems to get away with everyone else. Mechanics have about 4 minutes before the first car will come around, so they all run back to their pits and get set down for approximately 2.5 hours of racing. Electric starters, and Neubauer walks back to the pit. Fangio and Moss are first around, 1-2, as usual, as they've been all season in the Mercedes, followed by Castellotti, who had the fastest time in practice, followed by, Kling is back in 4th spot, Farina's in 3rd spot in the Ferrari. And Fangio again. A beautiful driver. You have to see him to believe it. And there they go again. Kling in number 12. Paul Frere with the yellow helmet. Belgian driver, and of course the crowd had their eyes on him. His first race with the Ferrari factory team. The hairpin. Fangio steers it out. Remember the way he handled this. You'll see another driver come through here later on. The different manner. Down to the start-finish line. Just past the start-finish line, down past the pits. It's all downhill. Even this is slightly downhill. It's very tricky turn. He takes way on the inside. He cuts back across the inside of the other one. The Mercedes photographer taking a few pictures and watched them jump on the top of this hill. Okay, completely airborne. Dusty Mahan took these particular sequences. One of the Lancias, or the Lancia, I should say. Slow motion. This should give you a little idea how rough this course is when they come over the top. And the Mercedes comes up over the top. Pediza. It's Paul Frere again. Watch him spin it out. Lets it go, lets it snap back. That's Farina, former world champion. Still a great driver. Musso in the Maserati. One of the officials goes out with I couldn't figure out his coat or a rag, and wipes up some of the oil from the course. Spread dust just like we do here. Rosier in the blue Maserati gives a go-ahead signal, but there was no chance for Fangio to get around that particular place. Part of it was Kling. Castellotti still going. Fastest qualifying time, both the rain practice and the dry practice. Jean Barra spun out in his Maserati at approximately the same spot where Dick Seaman was killed in the Mercedes so many years ago. Kling coming into the pits, retired for the day with mechanical difficulty in the car. A rather rare thing with Mercedes after Monaco. Musso again. Jean Barra goes very wide, almost misses a turn. He's in another car now. He took over Miera's car. They called Miera's into the pits, and Barra took over the car. Although he had to walk all the way back to the pits. Pediza was hot up until this race. This young Italian driver who's going to be very, very good, although we understand now that he has stopped racing because of family complications. Pediza was made into a man this day. He finished way, way back, a little over his head in this particular competition on this circuit. The gendarmes everywhere, very efficient and very courteous Belgian police. Maserati again, Pediza again, also the Maserati. We'd like to mention also that above everything else, well, of course, we're in Europe, and racing isn't too exciting when you put 14 cars on a 13-kilometer circuit. Everybody goes fast. There's no competition. So we have a few lovers over in the fields. We also had a few cows. Ferrari, Lampredi, Mercedes, Neubauer. checking positions very carefully. They were a little worried about Farina. They hadn't seen him drive like this since his World Championship days. Well, getting back to the original point we started a moment ago, we'd like to mention that this was the very best organized race we encountered in Europe. We were treated courteously and we were treated efficiently. And Mercedes treated the crowd by setting up their balloon. The Argentine is given the latest scoop on what's happening to Fangio as he comes in at the finish. 2 hours and 40 minutes later, the race is finished. Juan Manuel Fangio, Mercedes, car number 10, averaged 118 miles an hour. Actually slightly over 118 miles an hour, to give you an idea how fast this circuit is. We were talking about it before. Of course, the crowd thinks he's just about the greatest, even the people in the pits. News reports go out all over Europe. That was a French reporter. Stirling Moss, second place. Fangio goes up to make his report to the Argentine in person, and ex-King Leopold leaves the course. Third place was Farina in the Ferrari, and fourth place was the Belgian driver Paul Frère, also in the Ferrari. After Europe race, certainly, Belgian police ride Harleys, and the ex-King rides in a Cadillac.